Hello.
Hello, Nico guy. How are you doing?
Good. What about you?
Okay, yeah, good. I have all my students ready. Are you ready
Bwoah.
to teach us some stuff here?
I hope so. I hope so.
What do you mean you hope so?
Yeah, of course I am ready.
Okay.
Sorry. Of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
I've heard people claim that you are the best player nowadays, so you have a lot to
Yeah,
prove
am I?
here. Yeah, you have a lot to
Yeah.
prove
Yeah,
your
I'm-
worth.
I'm willing to share my knowledge.
So to explain, I don't know if you already explained it to the people that watch you, but I came to you after the rally update, and since I am really bad at rally, well, I consider myself bad at rally, and I have like no knowledge about the majority of things. I
Yeah.
reached out to you to teach me in particular how to become better. But now we are doing it for the greater good of Trackmania community, and I have compiled a couple questions here, 10 to be exact.
Okay. Okay.
In no particular order, I'm gonna ask these ones, and then I think the best way what we can do is I just watch you. If you are showing something, I just watch you on stream. I think that's the best thing, because I cannot really show you anything. So yeah, the thing maybe first is if people are not aware, like what is your experience with rally in particular?
Yeah. So Rally is of course one of the 7 environments of Trackmania United, especially. Similar to Snow, for example. And before I started playing Trackmania 2020, and before I even became like a pro player like 3 years ago, I was pretty much playing Trackmania United for like 10 years straight. Not, of course, as active as I do nowadays, but I did play it a lot, and that's why I also have quite a bit of experience with all of the cars that were featured there, except for Stadium, funnily enough, because yeah, the United players were always a bit not that positive towards Stadium. So I mainly played the 6 other environments. And the one that I played the most was always Snow.
Okay.
And yeah, but Rally also was one of the ones that I really enjoed. So I hope
Okay,
I have
okay,
gathered enough
okay.
knowledge to share it today.
I mean, so we have a veteran here in the building. I think I'm just gonna shoot my first question here. And like I said, this is in no chronological order, no particular vibe that I'm going with, but with the recent update, we have seen that sensitivity can now be adjusted. We have new action keys, and I personally have a hard time finding out what settings I would be using or preferring when I'm driving the rally car. Now you are on a wheel, so it might be a little bit difficult for you to answer this question, but how do you find your perfect setting for, let's say, the rally car in this case? Like what do you do now with the sensitivity and action key usage to get, you know, the best feeling? Because default settings, let's be honest, is not possible, like for no one.
With pet, etc., not, no. At least not without action keys, I guess.
Yeah. So what would you say? Like lower sensitivity? Like you are using your steering wheel, right? So you have changed your radius or whatever it is to a certain degree. But what would you say is comparable then for, let's say, a controller user? Like how much should we lower the sensitivity of our controller to be, you know, driving the rally car significantly better? What do you think?
Yeah, so the thing with Rally Car is, I guess many already noticed that in case you played Rally, you never really need to full steer. There are, of course, exceptions, like let's say you do like a new slide on the ice or on the plastic, but when you drive Rally the normal way on like road or dirt, for example, you never need to full steer. It's kind of hard for me to tell a certain percentage, but I don't think you ever go higher than 80%, and usually what you need is like, I also heard other people saying like between action key 2 and 3, so 40 to 60%. Of course, on some maps, like for example, I don't know if you see my
yeah, I'm watching
Dingsbums at the moment. Like for example, on here, this one, the full speed map, Deep East, there are also turns where you only need to steer like 5 to 10%. So you definitely need low steering rates the most, which is why the rally car is probably the only car where it would, in theory, make sense to go for a lower sensitivity.
Okay.
It's hard to tell a number there. Like the thing is, like really low sensitivity, like let's say 0.1 or so, doesn't really make any sense. If you just look at the numbers, how it changes your steering graph, it's completely ridiculous. What might work might be something between 0.7 at lowest, I would guess, and between 1. And for pad, maybe 0.8, 0.9 could make sense, but it's of course also still personal preference. You can of course still get it with standard sensitivity of 1 as well if you use action keys. That's just a bit of a preference, but I think it would make sense for controller players to try it out between these values. Like let's say maybe 0.8 and 1.0. But lower doesn't really make sense, and higher makes absolutely no sense for rally car.
Yeah, because I have been trying to find my sensitivity, right? I've tried 0.95, 0.92, 0.9, 0.8 something, but the thing is, like, I am bad at rally, so no matter what I change, I'm still gonna be bad, and I don't know what the feeling is that I need on rally. So you're saying super low like lower steering value or lower sensitivity is just straight up better, and you just need to, you know, practice with it.
It depends. Like as I said, like giga low sensitivity makes no sense. Like don't go below like 0.7, even with rally car. Like I don't know if you ever showed the table with the exact values to your stream, but they already sound ridiculous.
Okay.
But yeah, I think for pad players, especially when you have no experience with rally, like there are rally players, like let's say Roa, for example. I guess all of you guys.
Roa is using just default.
Exactly, because he's been used to it for like 10 years and he's like really good with it, of course. But I think if you're just starting to learn the rally car, it would help a little bit to go slightly lower. As I said, like between maybe 0.8 and maybe 0.9, whatever. You also said that you tried 0.94, for example.
Yeah. It's just
but
really
sensitivity,
weird.
to be honest, sensitivity is not as important as getting used to using action keys, I would say, for pad. Like action keys are a way bigger help than the lower sensitivity. The lower sensitivity is more like you can probably see it more like a bonus, or like as a thing that you can combine with action keys. But action keys are the more essential part, I would say, at least. I mean, I'm not a controller player, of course, but
of course.
that's just what I have also heard and seen.
I have a follow-up question then. So, like, on the journey of finding your perfect settings, then would you by default stick with like as it is a learning process, right? Would you stick with one sensitivity, which is the default, and play with action keys only first, and after that you're like, okay, well, this is like it's feeling good, but what if I can enhance it more with lowering the sensitivity? Is that the process you would go with? Like stay with default and then start with action keys first?
I think that would make sense, yes, because if you like, action keys are, as I said, the way more vital part.
Yeah.
And yeah, the sensitivity settings shouldn't make that big of a difference, as I said, because if you go too low, it just makes your steering curve really, really weird. It's hard to like to speak about it when you don't really see the graph, but yeah. As I said, like action keys are definitely the thing that you wanna learn earlier or like before. So what you said should make more sense, in my opinion, at least.
Okay. Well, that is question one pretty much answered. So the second question is more of gameplay oriented, and this is like a big one for me. Is when do you determine to release versus braking, or when do you determine to do accelerating and braking at the same time? Like what? This is a mechanic that is so strange to me in particular. And I don't know the difference. Like, when do you use what? Is there a answer to this? Like, when would you use accelerating braking at the same time? When do you release, etc.?
Yeah, I'm gonna show my game again.
Yeah,
I
I'm
found
watching.
a map which might be interesting for that. Maybe as in general, it's very often a feeling kind of thing when you want to use what, but the key thing you need to know is that releasing doesn't really do a lot to the rally car. Like obviously you lose speed when you don't accelerate, but it's very, very minor. Like you can notice that, for example, when you go through a freewheel with the rally car, you can drive still for like ages and you will not go down to zero. So releasing doesn't do a lot. So whenever you need to drop a huge amount of speed, you want to use the brake, and when it's only like very small adjustments, sort of, like let's say you have 300 speed into a turn, and the perfect way to do the turn is 295, let's say, then you just want to release. So for big speed drops, braking, and for smaller adjustments, it is basically releasing. And there are, of course, also exceptions. Like, for example, on this map, when you have wet tires, that's, of course, changing everything up a little bit again, because then you lose even more speed with releasing. So braking becomes more important again. There's also a few other things that are interesting, because it's now a bit advanced. But you see, when I brake like this and I drive, I sometimes have skid marks, right?
Yeah,
Do you see that?
Yeah.
And when you have these double skid marks, it's hard to force them that much. You will have actually more grip. That's also a kind of a mechanic that you can use.
Okay.
Like this here. This was a good example, for example. And this is only applying on road. And yeah, this is now a bit advanced, of course. But for your main question, when you want to drop a lot of speed, then braking. And when it's only small adjustments, then rather releasing. It will become a feeling thing if you play it a bit more.
Yeah, because right now I have I've played a couple hours of rally now, and the brake is so strong. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Do you hold the brake, or are you more doing like brake taps? Like, if you're familiar with valley brake tricks, is it like, do I have to think more like this, or like where you have like a millisecond of a brake tap, or is it like? Because if I press the brake, it's almost like my car just comes to a complete stop. That's how it feels.
Yeah, it is very sensitive, that's for sure. It's also similar like that with the snow car, actually, funnily enough.
Yeah.
And basically, it is when you, like, as I said, like it's kind of comparable with Valley. I never played Valley a lot, but often it is just brake taps. But sometimes you just need to brake more, of course. So let's say, for example, the last turn on this discovery map here, you, for example, need to hold brake for a little bit longer. Like, there's also another strat. There's so many things to talk about, to be honest. But let's say this turn here. Yeah. Like, of course, you have wet tires, which is a bit different now again. But here you see world record is braking for a little bit. The inputs are, of course, not showing up now, but he's holding brake for like 1 second or so, roughly. Yeah. Because it needs to drop a lot of speed. But if he would only need to drop a little bit of speed, then it would only be a brake tap. So you just have to get used to the sensitivity, of course, a little bit.
Okay. And
maybe in that regard, an interesting strat that is also new to this game now. When you have wet tires and you need to slow down a lot, there's actually this strat here where you can intentionally do a drift to drop speed. Exactly. Because if you would try to just hold brake, even with releasing, you would literally have to start holding here.
Yeah, that's
all the
what
way
I did.
I did that as well in my discovery. You won't get around. So when you have wet tires, this is another strat to slow down speed.
Okay, so this would only apply to wet tires to slow down. Like, why wouldn't you use this when you want to just slow down? Why won't you just drift?
Because on wet tires, the brake is not working as nicely. This is just the fastest way to slow down, basically.
Okay.
But if you don't have wet tires, then the brake is like strong enough on road and dirt to slow you down.
Okay.
Like, drifting might also work there if you do it, but it's also harder to control than just like a controlled brake, you know?
Yeah. Okay, understand. And it's actually interesting when you said you have more grip on road, because that is the next question that I have. Like, is there a difference between braking on different surfaces? So you said you have more grip on road with when you have this 2 skid marks behind you. Like, does this also apply on dirt or on grass, or like, are there differences between these surfaces?
Yeah, that's also very interesting, because the grip, actually the rally car has different grip on like every single surface. The most grip you will have on wood, which is also new to the game, so it's also a bit new to me, of course.
Yeah.
Then the second most grip you have on dirt. The reason for that is that I taught you earlier about the skid marks thing, right? That you have more grip when you have skids on road.
Okay, so that also applies to dirt.
Yes, and on dirt you basically always have skids, you could say. So you just have a little bit more grip on dirt than on regular road.
Yeah.
Then after that would probably be grass. And then the lowest grip you have on plastic, which is basically like you almost have no grip. You almost always slide, basically. And the lower the grip is you have on the surfaces, the lower also the effect of the brake is, kinda. So on woods, it is sort of the strongest. Then, for example, on grass, there are some grass maps in the campaign as well. On grass, you need to brake for like an eternity for the car to slow down.
Yeah.
So
I
You basically need to get
I hate grass.
Yeah, you need to get used to the different feelings basically of how much. Like for example, here green stage. Green stage is a really good example. Maybe you can quickly do a run to show what I am talking about. But when you brake here,
this is just the gameplay on
yeah,
this.
like you see,
This is what this is
you
pretty
slide
much
out
me.
early, and look when I brake. Like I hold brake, it takes quite a bit of time, even though I had low speed to slow down.
Yeah.
And also here, for example, like if I would try to slow down normally for this turn, it takes way longer than on road or on dirt, for example. So it is actually different everywhere, yes. And you also see here now, on grass, like you constantly have the skid marks, no matter how you drive.
Yeah, so skid marks equal more grip. Like that's what it is. Okay. Okay, so it makes sense then, because if you're driving normal road, you don't have skids. So that's why you add the brake to get the skids.
Unless you do the
make...
brake, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
okay. Makes sense. I understand now.
Also, what maybe another interesting strat is, what is also a new thing about Trackmania 2020. On many maps, when you have these kind of blocks here, for example, it is actually faster to cut over the penalty grass, which is also something that is sometimes done with the stadium car, of course. But with rally car, I think it's going to be even more important.
Oh, to
like,
use
for example,
it to
this
slow
turn,
down instead of braking yourself.
Yeah, for example, here in this part, you would be way too fast to survive the turn the normal way. So you cut a little bit over to grass here, you know?
I see.
And there's also other parts, other maps where you can throw it off. I don't really know the campaign by heart that much. But there are quite many maps where you can apply that. So that's also something new for me. But it's something you definitely have to keep in mind when you play a new rally map, kinda.
Okay. Well, I think the question there with the grip is answered. Next question is sliding versus no sliding. I think we've you touched upon it a little bit, but what I mean with this question is why. So for me, because I'm not that fast of a driver yet, right?
Yes.
I find sliding through a turn much easier and consistent than no sliding. Like for me, it's the same result. But would you still say that sliding is just you never want to slide? Besides that one moment where you said with the water wheels to slow down.
Yes. So like I can tell you on road, on dirt, and on grass, you never want to slide. Like it's always slower, no matter the scenario. Maybe there are some like weird kacky maps, of course, but on normal driving maps, it is always slower.
Okay.
And in case you are, like what you just said, if you are faster in a turn with sliding than in comparison to like a no slide attempt of you, then the no slide was just not good.
Okay.
So like no sliding is always faster. Of course, now we have different physics as well. It's also the same on wood, by the way. On wood also, I don't think you will ever want to slide there. And it is a bit different on ice and plastic, of course. For example, we have here the Rastic map, rally on plastic. Because plastic has such low grip, it's not always possible to no slide. And there's also this like slide mechanic that you also have on ice.
It's like the
and for example,
slide stuff almost.
Yeah, so for example, in this U-turn here, which we also saw in the trailer, you come in with a lot of speed from the reactor. And if you would want to completely no slide it, it's basically impossible.
Yeah.
So what the world record does in this case is to do like a slide through the first part of the turn, to drop the speed, and then drift cancel and no slide.
Yeah.
So it can be faster to slide when you have like tight turns with too much speed, like also here, for example, with the slide trick. But usually, if you can no slide without being way too fast, you still wanna not slide on plastic.
Like it's crazy
but it's a
that
bit of a viability
on plastic, this replay just showed that it wasn't even steering more than 25%. Like
yeah, like plastic is kind of crazy to be honest. Like you just have no grip.
I legit
like
don't even
20%,
think
for example.
I can do that if I have default settings, and like that is crazy.
Yeah, it is a bit stupid to be honest.
That is insane. That is
like
insane.
here, for example.
Okay,
like
so
he slows down and still 20% steering.
So
only.
just the general gameplay is no sliding is always going to be faster, and if you are in a scenario where sliding for the player is faster, then you just are bad at no sliding. That is kind of the...
Kinda, yeah. Except, of course, you have these kind of plastic turns, or, of course, on ice. Ice is, of course, another entirely different thing, which is also new to me, of course. I don't know if you have a question for that.
No. I tried to avoid questions that with ice because you are completely new to ice as well, so it makes kind of no sense to ask someone that is, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I know a few things about ice, but it's still, of course, new to everyone.
Yeah, maybe for another episode.
Yeah, exactly.
For another episode. Okay. Next question.
Maybe yeah. Okay, yeah.
No,
you
what
already
were you
summed it
gonna
up pretty
say?
much.
No, you summed
Yeah,
it up.
only that like it's always no sliding. The only exceptions are basically wet tires to slow down or plastic to slow down.
Okay. Are gears relevant?
No,
Not at all.
not really. Not that I know, at least. Like, it's the same as with the snow car. Gears in general for the Trackmania original cars, so also for the desert car that we will get for the next update, they don't really make a difference. Like, there can maybe be scenarios where, let's say you have a turn where if you get it perfect, you can keep 5th gear, otherwise you drop to 4th. Maybe it results in a small speed difference, but it's not like the same as on Stadium, so that you don't want to steer while you gear, or that you can get actual gear slowdowns or stuff like that. They don't really matter, especially to beginners. You can completely ignore it.
Okay. I mean, that's good to know. This next question is more of a, for me personally, a block-related question, because we have these new, like, kind of uphill blocks. And the question that ties into this is, are there any visual or sound cues with Rally? And for me, the visual aspect is the correct lines that you would take in these new, like in these uphill blocks. Like, do you have any Do you have any visual cue where how you take these? Because that would already help a lot for me personally.
I mean, visual cues is maybe a bit hard to describe, but what's interesting about these blocks is that always at the top of them, like let's say here, for example, the danger of losing grip is quite high, because here you have the elevation change from like going straight to going a bit downhill. So on these parts, when you are on this part of the block, you always wanna stop steering a little bit, or like reduce your steering. I don't know if I can show that with the inputs on my PP here. Maybe it is possible to see. But you see, did you see it?
Yeah, so it's
like,
so in this
like you stop steering a little bit and then you go straight again, because in this part you also see I jump a little bit, and it's the highest probability of losing grip.
You're also releasing.
Yes.
So why are you not braking?
I did also brake, I think.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a bit confusing. It's also a lot of a feeling thing. Like, if you learn Rally, you don't think about, oh yeah, here I do release, then I do brake and release, here I do a small brake and then another release. Like, it's a bit of a feeling thing always.
Okay.
But yeah, about those blocks, yeah,
let's say on these blocks right here, like you want to keep so if you were to, you need to slow down, because I see like you take the inside line, you go from outside inside, then from middle to inside again. Like, you always want to, like, you want to no slide this, for instance, as well.
Yes, always.
Jesus
and because of that, you also wanna stop steering a little bit here, because otherwise the car will like break out a little bit,
Okay.
So you see, I will probably do it on also when you go downhill. You see, I stop steering a little bit when I am over the edge here.
And you're like
stop steer, and then here stop steer a little bit. Okay, exactly, because you have a little bit of airtime, and it's just easy to slide out. And once you catch grip again, you can steer a bit more. And I will do that on like every single part here. You see, I didn't even think about it when I was.
But
doing
here you're oversliding. Holy.
Yeah, it's also not a good record. Not that great, at least.
I see.
Like, but the record is probably not doing it if you take a look at that.
But yeah, you would go for like the line that is being taken. Yeah, see, it's full sliding.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Teacher, what is happening? It's sliding. Yeah. What is this?
Yeah, but who said this record is max?
That is true. You're true. True. Okay.
I usually want to avoid it, like, as much as possible, of course.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, like, if you have a little bit like of a slide, like let's say, this here, you see, like a tiny little bit, you don't lose much.
Okay.
You don't want to fully overslide, of course.
Yeah. Full overslides are just a no-go. Like these minuscule.
There's also a keyboard record, by the way, just for your interest.
Okay.
At least it looks like it.
What the hell?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, it is. 40%. Yeah, it is. For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so visual cues is more like there isn't really any that you have.
Not really, but what's maybe also interesting, like these turns, I mean, it's of course a bit different when you have like a U-turn, but when you only have one of these turns, it's always outside, then you go inside, stop the steering at this part here a little bit, and then you're at the inside, and then outside again, like normal racing line kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's never really, it's not like a dirt outside turn, which you sometimes have, where you want to be full outside or something. It's usually always outside, inside, outside.
Okay.
And in case of the first turn here, for example, it is outside, and then middle, and then
inside.
the same line again.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
if you would go outside here, you would have a shit line.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. Is there any air control on the rally car?
Yes.
Like, do you have
sort
any
of.
benefits of like landing on four wheels? Is landing sideways is just no bueno? Landing on your front wheels, etc.
So in terms of air control, it's also the same as with the snow car. You cannot air brake, which you probably already know.
Yeah.
But you can like counter steer in the air to stop your rotation.
Okay.
And that is not very important. Sometimes when you have, like, let's say you have a huge drop from like 20 blocks down, you can do it to land like less on your nose. But if you just have normal jumps, you don't really have to do any air control with the rally car. There it doesn't really matter too much.
Okay, but in most cases, if you have a jump or drop, it's four-wheel landing is preferred.
Yeah, but if you land slightly on your nose or on your sides, it also doesn't matter. You just don't wanna exaggerate it.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And there are also no landing bugs with rally or anything, so
yeah,
nothing you really have to watch out for, especially as a beginner. Like just jump.
Yeah.
Better try to focus on your line that you have in the jump than the actual jump.
Okay. Next question. On the Rally Discovery, we have seen already many instances where there are wall banks being used. And apparently in original Rally, it wasn't really utilized. Would you say
Rarely
that,
ever, yeah.
Would you say that if there are wall banks available, it's always going to be beneficial to use them? Or would you stay away from it?
I mean, that's also something kind of new for me. I'm just looking at there was a map which had like 2 wall banks. I don't know which one it was.
This one, 16, yeah.
This one, okay.
Yeah.
That's very sure.
Like
wall banks are of
in
course
the downhill and in the castle.
Yeah, so wall banks are usually useful in rally, or like they can be useful when you have a lot of speed for a tight turn, and it's just faster to bang the wall instead of slowing down. Like for example here,
yeah,
like you come in with a lot of speed, and if you would try to go for a nice steering line, you would have to brake here a lot already to get a nicer line. So it's just faster to bang the wall. Okay. I don't really know yet how consistent they are, and didn't really try it out myself yet. But yeah, I mean, why not?
Okay.
Doesn't look that bad to me. I don't know. Of course, the thing is, there's one thing with rally. I saw you also had that in your discovery, actually. There are some scenarios where the rally car, when you collide with the wall, that it's kind of like glued to the wall.
Yeah,
so kind of stuck at the wall, and you don't get away from it. And that, I don't know why that's happening, but that has always been the case with rally.
Oh,
and
okay.
Maybe in some wallbang scenarios, like in this one, probably not, because you bounce like kind of hard against this wall and also kind of hard against this wall. But that's maybe
so
something to watch out for wallbangs. Exactly. But other than that, I mean, it's definitely worth a try, I guess. But it's not like you should wallbang every turn. Like this is of course only a very niche scenario because you come in with a lot of speed. You have a turn which tightens at the exit, so you would have to slow down a lot. So yeah, I wouldn't. Don't try it at like every turn. It's maybe worth an attempt if you see you have a lot of speed and there's a super tight turn coming up. Then you can try it. But I don't think it's going to be that bad in terms of consistency. Should be fine in most scenarios.
Okay. This is actually the map that I've been playing to learn rally. Do you think it's a good pick?
It of course depends what you want to learn, but this map
well, everything, because this one has like almost everything.
This map definitely is nice for like the most standard stuff, because mostly you will probably drive on dirt or on road with rally car. Like something like ice or plastic, I don't think it will be used that often, and this is also what you see the most in the campaigns. And it also has a different, you know, variety of turns and stuff, so it's pretty nice.
Exactly.
Another interesting map, if you wanna learn everything, is Mixed Stage, which is also like, it has like basically everything.
Okay.
It's map 22, or also 25, of course, but that's a bit of an exception because it's like giga long.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah, but overall, the rally campaign is really good to teach like everything. It showcases pretty much everything you need to know. You have like one map for sort of everything.
okay. That's a really good segue into my 10th question.
Yeah.
How do you learn rally? Like, what are the steps for, let's say me, for instance, like, what do I, because right now I've just thrown myself at map 16 and some of these other rally maps. What is a proper way to learn rally? Do I make a map in the campaign with one turn and I just learn this one turn? Do I, like, how would you go about it? Because I don't know.
So
like, everything is new to me, and you know, I've been playing Stadium for like 12 years, and now I need to learn a new car, so I don't even know where to begin, kind of thing.
Yeah, I understand. Like, so first of all, of course, whenever you wanna, that applies for pretty much everything in Trackmania. If you wanna really get better at something and you wanna learn it, you just need to play it a lot.
Yeah,
but that's always a stupid advice, because like, just play LOL, you won't really get better. So the thing is with rally, in theory, the rally car is giga simple, because there's only really two strategies, sort of, but it's just extremely hard to master them. And those two strategies are basically the smooth steering, which we already spoke about, which is just essential for rally.
Yeah.
And then also how to use the brake, which we also already spoke about.
Those
so you probably
the,
noticed that those two are like the absolute key components.
And they are the most difficult to figure out as well. Like, that's kind of what I'm struggling with, is like, when you arrive at one of those uphill turns that we just spoke about, from the outside to the inside line, like, how much speed do you need to, you know, get through this turn and stuff? Like, how much brake do you need to add? Like, do you brake in the turn as well? Do you, like, this is very tough. Like, so that's why I said, like, do I just build a straight line with one turn and then just figure out this one turn, just like you used to learn, you know, TMGL maps? Do you cut them into pieces? Yeah. Do you take every single part as their own section to practice? Like, that is a bit of the angle that I have with this question.
I think for the very start, it could maybe make sense to get like a very first feeling about the car, so maybe build like one map with one turn or so. But usually I would say like the easy maps of the campaign, like let's say here the first dirt map, for example, or also to get a feeling on road for here Bumpy Rally, for example. Basically the white maps of this campaign are enough to learn it.
Okay.
And one approach that would maybe make sense to get a feeling for the rally car is, first of all, you can maybe try to drive turns full speed. Just try it out. So for example, in the start here, like, just try to full speed and see how far you can get. In the most cases, like, you will only do that at the beginning, because eventually you will develop a feeling. But in most cases, you will probably not make the turn, because rally is a lot about braking and stuff, and also smooth steering. So maybe it would make sense to start like that, and then just gradually try to slow down and smooth steer a bit differently, until you basically get through the turn quite comfortably. Of course, you don't need to go for world record lines with like giga action key abuse or so. At the beginning, it will just be about surviving, I would say. So let's say, for example, when I drive this map here now, and I'm arriving at the first turn. Let's say I'm not a wheel player now, I'm just a beginner on pad. I try to drive through the turn of S, it will probably look like something like this or something.
Yeah.
If even. So I see, okay, I'm too fast for the turn. I don't make it through, even with smooth steering. Only by sliding I can make it through. So maybe now I will try to do a brake tap. Maybe a bit too much as well, and you see I will make it. So I guess it would make sense to just like gradually try. Or like on this turn, for example, the world record is doing it full speed, right? But for beginners, it will probably not really be possible. So if a beginner sees I can only full steer like this, I will not make the turn. Or I only make it with like sliding, for example. Then you can try to slow down a little bit for the turn and then just try to make it smooth through that. And the more you do this, I guess at least, the more of a feeling you will get for the car. It's of course very hard to drive good runs if you don't have a feeling for the car yet, because it's like in general for Trackmania the most important thing. You need to be your car, kinda. You need to know how much it steers and stuff. And I think this is an approach with which you can get used to that a little bit more.
So you would say stick with the simplified maps and not look at like let's say the track of the day that we had. Like, stay away from those maps.
Yeah, that one is already quite difficult,
because you don't.
And also some of the later
really...
campaign maps. Yeah. Also, I would definitely not start like playing ice or plastic. Maybe it's definitely. I think dirt is pretty good to start with. Maybe also wood. Wood is maybe a good gives you a good idea of the sensitivity of the car.
Okay.
Because you don't slide out immediately, but you still have the same steering sensitivity. And yeah, but I wouldn't really start on like something like grass as well. Like grass is like so difficult to drive. You already said it earlier that you also struggled with it.
Grass is the worst on snow and on rally.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a reason why the first two maps, for example, are dirt in the campaign. Like Tona made that quite nicely. It's probably the best to get a hang of the sensitivity.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's literally just play.
Yeah,
I was always sounds dumb, but it's just it is just like that.
I was playing map 2 to test my map 2 was the map where I was testing my my settings on to see if I could make that jump in the end.
Yeah, that's a good idea actually, because map 2 is if you drive it perfectly, it is full speed, like both of the turns. So if you just wanna learn the steering first, maybe map 2 is actually a pretty good example, I think. Because you could just try to get your feeling for the steering without having to worry about, do I need to brake here now, or do I maybe do a small release, blah blah blah.
Yeah. This was the map where I tried to fiddle with my with the sensitivity of the in the settings.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea actually, for people. But you see how world record is driving. It's just like full speeds and yeah.
God damn it.
Could be good to get a feeling for it, at least for the steering part. And for the braking part, it's how do you get used to that? It's also hard to explain for me because I didn't really learn the car like actively. I played it since I'm like, I don't know, 10 or so. But
yeah, the braking part for me is the most difficult because the brake is
very different.
It's so strong, and you just brake in a straight line, and sometimes you brake while you're turning with like smooth steering, which is so weird. Like the combination of accelerating, braking, and steering at the same time just doesn't make sense to me in my head.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got through my 10 questions, and I think a question that I have right now is, if we didn't touch on a topic right now, and you want to add something to it, what would you, if you have any, what would you tell the people?
What's maybe interesting is for the new blocks, which is also something I learned a little bit too late. I didn't really immediately notice that. But on these new castle blocks, I guess we will see them quite a bit in combination with Rally Car.
Yeah.
It's very often possible to cut over the edges here.
It's very bumpy.
Like here yeah, it is very bumpy, but for example, you have this 90-degree turn here. Like, if you're a stadium player, you would maybe think maybe going outside here is better, or not going here. But with Rally Car, it is often possible to cut over them a lot. Like, you also see the world record here by Sander. It's also like fully going over it to get a better line. Also, like here, he will do that.
I see.
Maybe something interesting for many people, line-wise. But yeah, other than that, I mean, there's of course still the entire topic of ice, but
yeah, I mean, if,
I don't know
if you have if you have figured out something on ice, I mean, just throw it in.
I mean, what I figured out on ice, also maybe it's smart to go onto the track of the day for that.
Yeah, what a terrible
which we had
map
here.
That was.
Yeah, Camp's Castle. But what I found out on ice is mainly it's about having very direct lines in every turn, so you want to go inside everywhere if possible. And not like it's not like possible to go like more outside to get more exit speed or something. That's not really a thing.
Yeah.
And the most important part about ice is also that you can like do these kind of slides, and there's basically this kind of optimal steering angle, which is like around 90 degrees.
Okay.
And the closer you are to it, the better it is. And you basically want to hold it. And the cool thing is also, it doesn't really matter if you are on an analog device. This is also really nicely doable with keyboard.
Yeah, so you would say
so
like, holding would still be better than like tapping.
Yeah, what is this cut by the way?
Yeah, it's just a shortcut. Yeah, it's fine.
But like for these kind of ice slides, you always want to be as close as possible to that steering angle, which is like around 90% the degrees.
Okay.
It's very hard to get used to it. I also struggled quite a bit with this cup of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, the closer you are to that angle, the more speed you keep. That's what I figured out so far on ice.
Yeah, and what I noticed is that gears mattered on this map.
On ice, maybe, yeah. On ice, it's maybe a different thing
like
again.
There was like weird gears, like when you snap out of the slides. It felt like I always lost like a lot of speed because of the engine was doing weird shit.
Mm. But the engine is also a good indicator of how good your angle is. Like, the more your engine is screaming, the closer you are to the good angle. Like, if I do a slide, which is like a really low... Like, for example, if I do like a good one now, which is like something like this, the engine is like kind of louder, you know?
Yeah.
But when I go for a low angle, the engine is like kind of... Like, as if it's dying, you know?
Yeah, I can hear it.
It's a nice indicator of how good it is. With reactor, it's of course a bit different again.
Okay,
But, yeah, if you have a bit of a lower angle, and it sounds like your engine is kind of dying, then, yeah. But if your engine is like screaming at you, then you have a good angle, sort of. Like, you can slightly notice it at least.
Yeah, I can hear it. I can hear the difference. Yep. That's like you know, the audio cue that that we had earlier. Okay. Anything else?
Maybe if I take a look at the campaign again. But I think we definitely covered the most important things. What's of course also interesting is the way how car switches work. Because I don't know if you've played too many tracks yet where car switches are a thing, where you switch between snow and rally car, etc.
No.
But maybe what I can teach in general on them, also in combination with the snow car, is that when you have maps with different cars, you always want to use the different strengths of the cars, if that makes sense. Okay. So, for example, I don't know if we have a good map for that in the campaign here. But if you want, I can quickly build one with like 2 turns or so, if you have time for that.
Yeah.
It's just something that came to my mind here. Okay.
And maybe while you are building that, if there are some questions from people in the chat that have not been asked, or you need to have an answer to, then write them now, I guess.
Yeah, feel free to ask.
There's a question here: rally bobsleigh, no steering, or do you want to steer like in like you do with snow and stadium car?
From what I've seen, it's actually the fastest to not steer in these. Like, there's this one campaign map where you can see that. There's also some scenarios where it's faster to not really take the typical smooth bobsleigh line, but instead to go a little bit unsmoother. But I also didn't really figure that out myself yet too much.
Okay.
So yeah. But no steering is the fastest from what I know.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I am cooking something.
We have a question here from Tarlo, but I think we already touched upon this earlier. Is there no penalty for holding throttle and braking? This would actually be like a little bit of an add-on. Like, do you brake harder if you don't hold the acceleration while doing so, or like is it the same as braking and accelerating?
I think you do brake a little bit harder. So if you wanna lose a lot of speed, I think it is making a small difference. It's not too much because, as I said, releasing isn't making a big difference. Like, you don't lose that much speed with it. It's just a little bit of a difference.
Okay.
Yeah, but I cooked a map now.
Yeah, I'm watching. Yeah, I'm looking.
You're ready. Okay. So what I meant. So we were speaking about the fact that when you have car switch maps in general, it is important to use the different strengths of the cars. And what I mean by that is, for example, on this map here, like we start. Why am I putting the wrong ring again? Yick. At the start, you start with the snow car, and the snow car, of course, has a lot of grip, right?
Yeah.
Like way more than a rally car. So, for example, in this case, the line you would want to take is not something like this, because you would have a shit line.
Because you would slide instantly.
Yes, but with the snow car, for example, which has a lot of grip, you can get yourself a nicer line for the turn. If you use the... That's something that also works for stadium. So, for example, stadium car is a lot faster than like snow and rally car. So if you have a car switch gate into from stadium into rally or snow, it would maybe often make sense to go for more exit speed and stuff. That's also a very complicated thing that you need to know what the different cars do and how you can make them work together. Like, one very interesting thing for that, if you want to train that a little bit, it's a bit now altered Nadeo advertisement. But there's this There are those campaigns which are called car switch, where you basically at each checkpoint you switch between, in this case, stadium car and snow car.
Yeah.
And it's something where you can learn that a little bit, and might also help for the one or other campaign map
Okay.
where you have the car switches. And it's also, honestly, it's also a good example is also map 10 in the current winter campaign.
Yeah, I might not
Because-
even I might not even utilize it on this map.
Yeah,
What-
like on this map, usually, I mean, of course, eventually the fastest strat was discovered and people just copied it. But it's maybe also smart to like understand it a little bit. That, for example, in this part here, you can go snow through this turn, but you
Yeah.
can also go stadium. And stadium is just faster because you can get more speed through this into the next part where you can then get this, where you then get the snow car. You just have more exit speed basically.
Yeah.
Because the stadium car is faster than snow. It's a bit complicated to explain, but I hope you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand it. I understand it.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
see. Is there maybe another question? Ideal way to wall hit. We touched upon this already. Granady was not sure. He needs to wallbang more. Any questions in your chat?
Yeah, actually true. If you have any questions, guys, feel free to ask. As I said, like rally car is really not that complex. It's just really hard.
Yeah, that's what like the barrier of entry is like to actually control the car is so steep.
Yep. Maybe what's also interesting, I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think when you have wood with the rally car, you know that when you steer a lot, you go on two wheels, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, of course, don't want to slide, but I think it's also faster to not go onto two wheels if you can avoid it. So for example, in this part here, it's of course very nicely done now by Sander here, but he's going through this part almost without going onto two wheels. It's kind of nasty.
So ground
Especially
contact
like this
is
here, like
like
what the fuck is that?
yeah, this is crazy. Like ground contact is like a must.
Yes, like it's better at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look
Other
at
than
this.
that, okay.
Yeah, you have to see the last turn. He goes again.
Also,
on,
yeah.
on two wheels. It's ridiculous.
The very last one?
Yeah. This chicane and then this upcoming one.
Yeah, like he tries to avoid it and yeah, basically minimize steering.
Yeah, okay. But there are no like wiggle type beats.
No.
Like basically you're saying rally, if you to sum like kind of a lot of things up is rally on its own is very, very simple. It does not have speed slides, it does not have quantum drifts, it does not have uber bugs, bug slides. It's
Air brakes, not
literally
even.
yeah, no air control necessary, no gear listening. It's just pure driving. That's the base. That's the basic gist of it.
Pretty much true.
Pretty much, if you can control that you are never sliding, you are gonna be a good rally driver.
Yep, that is pretty much it. It sounds simple, but it's just really hard to master, basically.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. Like I am struggling a lot.
Yeah, it's also very different to the way you drive stadium, of course.
Yeah.
Maybe one last thing that comes into my mind, which is it's not really used that often, but it's kind of interesting trick. But it has been used on the risky finish of the ice track of the day.
Yeah.
And that is the thing that when you go, it's the same for snow, by the way. When you go through a booster, you keep the booster effect for a little bit. You maybe know that from Canyon.
Yeah.
And also Valley, I think, is probably the same. And maybe also Lagoon, I don't know. Which is why you can get this kind of soup boost here. I don't know what the exact name is.
No, it was soup
but
boost.
it can be a soup boost, official name.
Yeah.
But it can be used to steer on ice a little bit in case you have a scenario like that.
Okay. I see.
So, yeah, I could also build that in a map now, but I guess you know what I mean. But it's a very niche thing, of course. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think people will see that very often.
Okay. Yeah, I think. I mean, I have asked everything, and I don't think I have more questions.
I don't think I have any either in my chat or anything.
Damn.
Not that I know, at least.
Okay. I mean, maybe in like a week or two, if more questions come up, we can sit down again and discuss new things, because who knows, maybe we don't know what this specific rally car is capable of doing yet. Maybe there are new things that you also have not discovered. That is
Yeah, sure. On the new surfaces.
However,
Can happen.
I also think I want to do this with snow. Since we have the newly updated snow car, I think a lot of things are more simplified. But
yes,
I think me writing down a couple questions again could also benefit the snow people.
Yeah, I would be down for that. And I mean, for snow, I can definitely help as well.
Yeah. Okay. Damn.
Yeah.
Teacher Granady, guys.
Sounds
this
like
was
a
the
plan.
first
Nico.
class. This was the first class. No, I
we had a lot of
appreciate it.
students.
I think
Pretty
everyone.
nice.
I mean, I saw a lot of people. They were very welcoming, and the knowledge that we just gained can be used. I mean, I am definitely gonna use, that's for sure. And yeah, this was the real Trackmania school. Yeah, we have the Trackmania school club, but this was the real one, eh?
True. Yeah, I hope it was helpful. Of course, I also want people to try out the new rally car, as it's something that I love in Trackmania, of course. And
yeah, that is also the reason why I want to do this, because people instantly shut down the idea of learning the new car. And
I'm very happy that this time it's actually going way better than with snow car.
Yeah,
like this time people seem quite open for it, and also like I expected really negative responses to it, but many people actually like it and enjoy it.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool to see.
And I also think, like, because personally I'm not good on rally, so I think if I can show that I can get better at it with like help, then it might encourage others to do the same thing.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right. Well,
and yeah, hopefully we can do the same for snow then.
That was episode 1 of the Trackmania School with Granady. Guys, I'm gonna shout out the Granady guy. And yeah, I guess thanks everyone for watching for the first episode here. Hopefully it is beneficial to many. That is the goal. And yeah, we'll do snow maybe in 2 weeks, maybe in 1 week. We'll see. But I will wish you a good luck in the cup of the day.
Yeah, troll cup of the day.
Oh no! I forgot. Oh, imagine if it's a troll map with rally and snow and stadium. Oh no, I can already see that.
That would be cool, to be honest. That would be really cool.
Oh shit. Anyway, I'll let you do your own thing. Thank you. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and maybe see you next week then already.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye. All right, that was Teacher Granady. Guys, I think that was really beneficial. No cap on a stack, for real. I think I learned a thing or two. Honestly. I think I have learned a thing or two. Has anyone got the notes? Yeah. I don't have the notes. No notes from my end. But we got the VOD. We have the VOD, guys. That's fine.